Hello everyone, and welcome to Polestar. Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us here at the Polestar headquarters in Gothenburg. My name is Brent Ellis, and I'm the PR and Communications Manager for Polestar here in Europe. With Polestar 2 having just started production in the Luqiao factory in China and deliveries to our first customers not too far away, we thought we'd join you today to talk a little bit about some of the details of Polestar 2. Joining me today are two of my colleagues, and we'll talk about some of the safety details around this amazing new electric vehicle that we're about to bring to market. First up, we have Hans, who is our head of R&D. Hey, Hans.
Hey, Brent.
And we have Beatrice, who is the Polestar 2 product manager. Hey, Beatrice.
Hi, Brent.
Thank you both.
Nice to be here.
Good to see you at a distance.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into business straight away. Hans, we're talking about safety. We've just revealed some safety details about Polestar 2. And it's no secret that Polestar is a child to Volvo. How does that affect us? What does that mean for us in terms of safety?
Yeah, that's true, child to Volvo. I tend to think like having Volvo cars as one of our parents, that actually means that we have safety in our DNA. So it's part of our company. And also knowing that we have these high-ranked safety engineers within Volvo working with Polestar 2, having a fantastic safety lab just down the street is something I'm really proud of. And this very close relationship with Volvo is not only benefiting us as a company, they will benefit our customers as well. I'm sure they will feel that relationship as a positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that really makes me confident as well, not only for the safety of our customers, but also for other people who interact with Polestar 2 in the environment. Mm. Talk to us a little bit about how we have to package the safety in a different way for an electric vehicle. Of course, Polestar 2 doesn't have a combustion engine. And what does that mean from a safety development point of view?
Yeah, safety is, of course, very important, also designing a pure electric vehicle. So if I step back to normal combustion engine architecture first, today many cars have a lot of engineering already done to it, refined over the years. And one of the most common setup is you have a combustion engine in the front and a rigid transmission. You have a fuel tank in the rear, normally under the rear seat. Occupant areas you need to protect. You have deformation zones and weight distribution that you have to take care and handle. And everything is to achieve this really high safety level as cars have today. And of course, when we make an all-new electric, we need to achieve the same safety level. That's no doubt about it. We need to get there. The only difference is the way to get there. These cars have different weight distribution, have different zones of rigid areas. So it's the way to get there which is different. And in, for example, between the four wheels, we have this big battery, quite heavy. It holds 78 kilowatt hours of energy. It's filled with cells that we need to protect from impact. We need to have a very rigid, could take also, it's part of the structure of the whole car. So it needs to be able to disconnect high voltage system from the car system in case of an accident. So it needs to be cooled down if needed. So safety is part of battery package in many design ways. And of course, everything is considered. So it's a rigid box with aluminum, steel, carefully selected other materials. Everything is designed for this purpose. And that means with this rigid part between the wheels, we need to look at deformation zones and weight distribution in a new way. But the target will be, like I said, the same.
Absolutely.
And just in front of the battery, we have another piece I have back here. Maybe you remember this one, Brent. It's the Spock block. You remember what the Spock stands for?
Yeah, I remember that Thomas actually made a bit of a joke when we first revealed Polestar 2 about the Spock block. I think it's the severe partial offset collision.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Tell us more, Hans.
So this severe partial offset collision block is a device which is in the very end of a sequence of many things that happen in this very partial impact. It's not a offset or a full front impact, it's just a partial impact, and many things will happen. And in the end, we need to protect the battery and the footwell area for the driver. And aluminum wheel and the wheel hub, etc., could be very stiff, or they are very stiff, and they need to be protected so they not go into the battery and occupant and they slide away, and that's why the spoke block comes in and makes a really good work.
And from the structure of the vehicle, again, I mentioned this car doesn't have a combustion engine, so we have to do things a little bit differently. If we look at the front of the car, where you would traditionally have had an engine, how do we adapt the safety aspects of the front of Polestar 2?
That's also a really good question, because when we have this different weight distribution and also the different rigid areas and protective areas, front that is definitely an area where we need to look at another way to achieving the same things. So we have the lower load path in the front, which is engaging in full front impact, offset, even center pole impact, difficult one, and the spoke we just talked about. So the lower load path is a very important purpose-designed piece, which I'm really proud to have there, and it makes the job to protect both the battery and the occupant and absorb energy in the different crash scenarios. So yes.
Awesome. And if we take a look at safety from the inside of the car for a second, Polestar 2, of course, has a full suite of airbags, but I know there's also something new that we've developed for that. Tell us some more about that, Hans.
Yes, it is. So of course we have passenger airbags, steering wheel airbags, curtains, side airbags. But we also have this all-new inner side airbag that pops up on the inner side of the seat, and it actually supports in lateral movement in case of a side impact. So that's a new feature we are really proud of having in the Polestar 2.
Yeah, for sure. It's clearly the evolution of vehicle safety. And to our audience, please, we are taking some questions in the background. Our community managers are logging them at the moment, so we'll address some of those at the end of the session. So please do send them through. Beatrice, another way that vehicle safety is evolving, I think, especially for electric vehicles, is related to the sounds they make, or maybe the sounds that they don't make, because they're silent, of course. Yep. How have we addressed the need to keep other road users around Polestar 2 safe, especially at low speeds when you really can't hear anything?
Yeah, in Polestar 2 we have something that we call AVAS. It's an acoustic vehicle alert system, and it's actually designed to alert other users around the car in low speeds, as you said. So in forward, we have it up to 30 kilometers, and in rearwards as well, when doing reverse. And we have external loudspeakers, one in the front and one in the rear, to make this happen. It's a system. And in the forward one, it's a subtle, natural sound, very nice sound, and in reverse it's more a pulsating sound to get the car recognizable.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like a spaceship?
No, it doesn't.
But I have actually heard the sounds, and for our viewers, please, you can hear them on our website and in our Instagram feed, so go and have a listen to the sound of Polestar 2.
Yeah.
Hans, a little bit back to you. Detection and preventative safety. This car has tons of sensors all around it. Tell us a bit more about those systems.
Yeah, it's like to come to an ADAS system when it comes to the sensors. So we have sensors, camera, and everything goes into the computer, and of course a really smart software on top. And the whole purpose with the ADAS is Advanced Driver Assistant System. And the purpose is, like it sounds like, it's an assistant system to the driver. So the whole purpose is that you should drive the car, but we should give all the feedback we can from the car to make it fun and safe and so on. So that's the ADAS system, and it's absolutely in Polestar 2.
The big question, I guess, then, is this car autonomous?
No, it's not an autonomous. You should drive your own Polestar 2, Brent, and it's fun, and you will get all the support from this system to be as safe as possible in different conditions.
Totally agree. So Let's take a little bit more detailed look in some of these systems. Beatrice, I know we have things like blind spot information system with steering support. We have a detection system for cyclists, pedestrians, other vehicles with braking support, cross-traffic alert with brake support as well. It sounds like a lot of support. What is it actually like to live with this car and drive with these features? Do I get to drive it much?
Yes, you do. This is a fantastic car to drive, and the support, actually, all the safety feature gives you, enables you to become a better driver, actually. So I have the benefit in my job to actually been driven the Polestar 2 for quite some time, especially here in Gothenburg area, and do the daily commute to work and do all the activities with the children, etc. So I know it's like an invisible safety net almost that you can rely on, even though you as a driver are responsible for actually handling the car. And for instance, if we take one of the examples, the pilot assist. It has been worked on and brought to the market from Volvo cars for a few years now, but it's a really good support system for you as a driver. And as I said, makes you a better driver. So you can both accelerate and brake and steer. So for instance, for me going to office every day, in the morning, you know, you're quite stressed, you have the kids and everything, but sitting in the car, putting on the pilot assist, and you can feel the confidence it gives you. Of course, you are responsible as the driver, but still keeping in the lane, and you have the space to the next car in front of you, and you feel confident, and it makes you a better driver. So it's a very good support system.
Yeah, and even better, I think, when you get in a traffic jam, slow moving.
Absolutely.
Makes it a lot more enjoyable.
Absolutely. In the traffic jam situations, and it works up to 130 kilometers per hour.
Super.
Yeah.
Another system that I've experienced as well is that cross-traffic alert now with the braking support. And I know you have a pretty good personal situation with that recently. Yeah,
I did a couple of weeks ago. I was driving out from my parking lot back home. I have a house, and driving the parking space is just next to it, and it's kind of a slope down. I had the kids in the back, and I was doing reverse, so I was going backwards, and I saw the 360 camera on my center display, so then you see everything around you. But when driving down, actually, there was a cyclist coming, and then I got the warning signals, and then the brake. So then the cross-traffic alert is really, really good in those situations.
Yeah, I've experienced that in a parking lot in a shopping mall as well.
Same thing.
You just can't see anything coming, and it's just that extra bit of safety that we can build in. It's really fantastic.
Yeah, it's like a support net.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this build-up, I think, is really good. It could alert the driver, could warn the driver, or even react and act on the car with the steering, like Bea said, or brakes.
Exactly.
So that build-up is really nice.
Yeah, and I know these systems are constantly being developed, and you know they're always being improved, and we can really help bring the latest updates to all the new vehicles. But what about someone who gets a Polestar 2 now, and we update the software in a few months' time? How can we help those people?
The good part with Polestar 2 is that we bring something to market that's called over-the-air update. So that means that if we have a new improved software, it could be improved functionality, but it could even be new features and new functionality. We will do a software package and send it to your car. So the car will not be the same. It will actually be better and better and better. So it's functional growth.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it's always connected is really convenient, because before you would have to wait for your next service interval to get some new software and stuff like that.
Correct.
So now
the car is always connected.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about life with the Polestar 2. I mean, I'm quite jealous, if I'm honest, you getting to spend so much time with this amazing car.
Yeah.
You, of course, driving some of the prototypes in the later stages of development. What's it like to live with this car? What's it like to get into a Polestar 2 for the first time? I know it's quite different, isn't it?
It is, but it's an amazing journey, and it's amazing to drive the Polestar 2. I really love it myself. And actually, the hassle-free. It's so easy to use and intuitive. That is really, really good in this car. Yeah. And for one thing is the startup sequence. It's so simple.
Yeah, and that's, I know, which is quite different to a traditional car and something to get used to. I'd like you to show us that now, if you can.
Now?
Yeah.
Of course. Join me. So while entering the Polestar 2, of course you have the key in your pocket and you open the door, and already now the center display and the driver display gets ready. And of course the phone is already connected before you sit down. And where is the start button? No, there is none actually, because you're sitting on it, because we have a seat sensor in the seat. So if you want to go with the car, you just sit in the seat, you press the brake pedal and you choose drive, and off you go. So it can't be easier actually. And when we're talking about safety, and we of course have different safety sequences in how doing this. For instance, you need to press the brake and choose drive or reverse at the same time. Or you need to have also to have the door closed, otherwise the automatic parking brake will not release. So as you see, it's really hassle-free and simple.
Super, Beatrice, thank you. Back to you, Hans. Another feature that is prominent in electric vehicles, and I know a lot of people are interested in, is the so-called one-pedal drive. What is one-pedal drive? How does that work?
Yeah, one-pedal drive is one of my favorites, I have to say. It's have different benefits and features, and let me mention a couple of them. If I could start with physics, half the mass times velocity in square is kinetic energy. And when you step into the car like Beatrice just did and get up to speed, you will create a lot of kinetic energy, you and the car itself. And when you hit or when you come close to the first curve, or maybe a car in front of you slow down, you want to reduce speed. And of course, we don't want to waste that energy we just built up. So in one-pedal drive, the really strong motors we have, 300 kilowatt motors, they could, just like that, in a blink of an eye, swap character and become generators. So then they will transform the kinetic energy to electricity and store it neatly in the battery. And all of it just by releasing the same pedal. So we push the pedal for accelerate and we release the pedal for re-generate back to battery, and to minimize the waste of energy. And of course, it's really comfortable. That's the second one. Driving in city, one-pedal drive is fantastic. You could adjust to the speed. For most cases, it's all down to 0 speed. If you lift off the pedal, the car will slow down, come to a complete stop, and stand there until you hit the pedal again. It's really convenient. And thirdly, country roads. It's really fun. The one-pedal drive in a country road, it's a new experience. I love it. So they have many purposes. I think when you get into Polestar 2, try the default setting, which is the maximum region and no creep. Not only once, try it a couple of times to get used to it. It's a fantastic. And of course, if you don't like it, we have settings you could get rid of this and almost down to freewheeling. And if you really want like a petrol automatic, creep torque mode in idling, we have a mode for that one as well. So I think all customers will be happy in drive modes, yes.
Yeah, and that's something, actually, having driven an electric vehicle for the last few months, is something that I got used to fairly quickly. And once you are used to it, it becomes really enjoyable and actually changes the way that you drive. So I'm a huge fan of one-pedal drive.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Very hassle-free as well.
Absolutely. Well, that was really fascinating. Thank you both. I think it's been really insightful to the audience. And thank you as well, our viewers, for sending in some of your questions. We'll get to a few of them now. And if we haven't got time to get to all of them, our community managers will answer them in the background for you. First question, I like this one, related to safety directly. Beatrice, maybe you can take this one.
Yep.
What's the Euro NCAP rating? Have we got that yet?
No, we don't. Euro NCAP is actually an external rating institute for Europe. There is other ones in the other markets as well, but it's not rated as now.
So that'll come along a little bit later in the year, I guess.
Probably, yes.
Okay. Good. Hans, one for you. I quite like this because it's a really important question for someone, especially who doesn't have an electric vehicle already. Is charging safe?
Yes, it is safe, Brent. This is a full electric car. So the car should be charged. And of course, it needs to be safe, and it is safe in all conditions. I really recommend to use wallbox at home or public charging places and so on to use the ones which are purpose-made for charging the car. And do not use an old extension cable at home or something. That's not recommended at all. Stay with purpose-made charging equipment. It's perfectly safe. And Brent charging for Polestar 2 is also, the equipment we have is really good. Not only for safety, but we have 3-phase, 11 kilowatt AC charging, which is really good. And on top of that, you could do quick charging up to over 100 kilowatts in DC mode. And yeah, so charging is safe and really useful for the customers.
Yeah, sounds good. I know I've done it with my current car, and once you get used to the routine, it actually is so easy.
Yeah.
It's not even a big deal. That's really great.
And then we have the infotainment system that can help you as well.
Yeah, of course, because of course the Google Maps is optimized for electric vehicles and actually helps us find those charging stations if we need them. That's a very good point, Beatrice.
Yeah.
Especially if you type in where you're going, it will recommend you where you need to stop and where you can stop for charging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Beatrice, I know you've got kids related. What about child safety? Have we got ISOFIX child seat anchor points in this car?
Yes, we do. They are standard in the rear of the seat for all the markets, and in the front of the seats they are standard for Europe.
Fantastic. And perhaps another related question to having kids and family at least, practicality-wise, what do we have in Polestar 2 to make it really versatile?
Yeah, I'm really proud of that this car in this segment, and as a fastback as it is, do have so good volumes actually. So in the rear, for instance, you open up the rear load compartment with your foot. And we have the long foot sensor all over the width of the car. I know that you have been challenged with that previously.
Yeah, doing the dance in the parking lot.
Yeah, you don't need that with this car. It actually works. So while coming out from the grocery store with your hands full, you can just kick and it works. It opens up very nice. And since it is a fastback, so the hinge is very high up, so you have also the ergonomics to put inside. You get a wide opening. So that's really good. And then we have 405 liters in the rear. It is measured with block, so it's really customer friendly and customer used. And for instance, I was picking up my son and his friend the other day at the golf court. And both of them, of the golf bags, was placed fine in the rear. Almost got surprised myself, but it actually did, so it was really good. And of course, if you have larger items, you can fill the seats. It's a 40-60 seat, so it's no problem if you go and buy some big things. And then, of course, in the front, we have a front load compartment as well with 35 liters. And there we also added to have, the warning triangle and all those stuff that you don't use so much.
And Hans, something that I know you can talk about is some of the packaging of the battery pack itself and how we've actually thought about practicality with that as well.
Because you mentioned a lot of the trunk and also the storage in front, but I think this piece between there, the rear seat, is something we should be really proud of. And I think the customer will realize that this is a C-segment fastback, full electric, and you don't have to sit with the knees high up or the roof down. It's really comfortable rear seat in this segment. So I think we should be really proud of that rear seat space.
Yeah.
And yeah, you asked about the battery. So the battery is really tailor-made to get these 78 kilowatt hours I mentioned. Still, we haven't filled up all floor. Where the rear passengers have their feet, there we don't have any cells at all to really get what I talked about, the good seating comfort ergonomic.
Yeah,
so, yes.
Yeah. And I'm quite tall, and I've sat in the back, and it's actually really, really good.
Yeah, it is.
Really well thought
for this segment of car, I think it's really good.
Yeah. We talked about AVAS and the exterior sounds that Polestar 2 makes.
Yeah.
Question, Beatrice, can you turn them off?
No, you can't. And that's due to that it's actually due to safety. We want it there as well. And in some markets, it's legal demand as well.
Good to know. Hans, something for you. We talked about ADAS and the sensors and all the assistance and support systems. And one of the elements to that is, of course, the front radar that allows the car to essentially see the road ahead of it. One of a very interesting question we've got is, will we be incorporating LiDAR anytime soon?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we will. So,
with Polestar 2 or a little bit further into the future?
It's let us come back to that.
I know we previewed that with the Precept concept, which was, I think, our vision for the next
the future,
phase of.
So we are, of course, looking into safety equipment at all the time, what's new and what we can develop. But what will be in our current model, we of course, we need to launch when we will be ready for whatever system we're talking about.
Yeah.
Can you fully disable the traction control? That's a good question.
No, that's another safety feature, and you cannot fully disconnect the traction control. It's different levels that you could do, but no, you cannot, for safety reasons.
Yeah, of course. I think that's all we've got time for. I want to thank both of you very, very much for joining me today. It was really good. I hope that the audience has benefited from that insight into Polestar 2. Hopefully we can do it again. So Hans, Beatrice, tusen tack.
Tackar, tackar.
Good
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
And to everybody online, we hope that you keep safe and we hope to see you soon. Hej då!